Hello, it's Ashton Lewis.
And I'm Daphne Lynn.
And you are listening to the
NDE World Podcast.
Welcome to the NDE World Podcast. I am your host, Ashton Lewis. In the studio with me today, my lovely hostess, Miss Daphne Lynn. Hello, Miss Daphne Lynn. How are you today?
Hello, Ashton Lewis. I am doing really good. I put my work day in, got off early because I worked overtime all week. So yay!
Yay!
And I'm feeling really good because we have a special guest today.
All right. Yes. Looking forward to it. So looking forward to it. Yeah, Daphne hadn't stopped talking about this young lady ever since
we
they
made contact again.
Yeah, because they were kind of grew up in the same area. In fact, you guys went to school together.
We did,
and you didn't even know much of the story until recently. Or?
That is what I appreciate about doing what we do, because she is sharing her story for the very first time with someone other than just very few close friends and family. So this has taken a lot for her and releasing those fears and everything that she's had about this. But it really just goes to show that you really just don't know who that you know has had an experience like this with the divine.
You really don't know.
And I just happened to, and she and I both have talked a few times since making contact, and we really feel that her grandmother has directed this because she needed to get this off her chest and her message and her wisdom out there for others.
Yes, and Alecia, you did a fabulous job, by the way, young lady. So just to let you know, you did excellent. You know, I know you said you was a little nervous at first, but you did perfect. So thank you so much for your time, your story, your information. We love you so much. Okay, just keep that in mind. So
yes, most definitely. So Miss Alecia was 11 when she had her experience. So she has carried these
40 years,
feelings with her
years.
for quite some time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she did receive spiritual gifts after her NDE. So that was something that has helped to help her along the way.
Yeah, and really that beautiful connection with her and her grandmother. You know, I love that.
Yes, most definitely.
Yeah, perfect. Well, I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and share this beautiful story from this beautiful soul with our listeners, and let them be able to hear it and really, feel the actual, what this person had to go through and how they shared their story and how she really broke it down, because it's amazing. I love how she really broke it down for us. So.
Yes, me too.
Yeah, awesome. Well, let's do it. And we are rolling. Before we begin, let me, on behalf of the NDE World Podcast and the crew, thank you so much for giving us your time.
Yes, sir.
And sharing your story with us and our listeners. We think it's so awesome, and we're so looking forward to it. And, now you said it's okay if we call you Alecia, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Miss Alecia, perfect. Now, what we're going to do, you can just share whatever you feel most comfortable with. Now, I understand you had an actual near-death experience, like at a very young age, right?
Yes, sir. I was only like 12.
Okay. Well, if you want, if you feel comfortable sharing anything that, led up to that experience, and maybe the experience itself, everything you remember, or anything you want to share, baby, we're here for you. And we'll probably just maybe jot down some questions along the way, and whenever we're ready, you're ready, we'll just maybe ask you a few questions based on, your experience.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, all yours, girl. Yeah. we're so excited. Yes. Thank you so much, Alecia.
Okay. I grew up in a little country town. I lived on a farm. My grandmother, aunts, uncles, everybody was like, they had their own garden, grew their own produce. They grew their own cattle, for their beef. They grew the chicken, farm.
Yeah.
They actually ate off of the land. And so that was the environment I grew up in. And so I was really, really locked in tight with my mother's mother. I called her my mama. I was at her house every single weekend of my life. And we were just really, really close. And I lost her when I was around 10 years old.
Aww.
And man, that hurt me to, I've never had a pain that bad since.
Yeah.
And, okay, growing up in the country, we would go swimming in like creeks and rivers and stuff like that. That's just something we did.
Yeah, we grew up on the river, didn't we?
Yes, ma'am.
I love it.
It was so much fun. It was so much fun. But there again, deadly. Okay, anyway. So, Blount County in Alabama, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but they are actually historically famous for their covered bridges.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
Do you know what a covered bridge is?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. I grew up in a small little town like that, too, called Bluntsville.
Yes, ma'am. Well, me and you both went to school in Blountsville.
Yeah.
But Blount County itself was famous for their covered bridges because they were so old. They were built way back. And what it was made for the horse and buggies.
Mm-hmm.
And, you could cross over. Well, it had like a roof over these bridges, and they just called them covered bridges, but they were all made out of wood. And I loved going across them because you'd hear clackety, 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 clackety
Yep.
all the way across them. And we as children would swim at these covered bridges. There was one called Swan Bridge. It was the popularest of all of them.
Uh-huh.
And so, okay, here we go to go swimming, nothing unusual. But keep in mind, I didn't know how to swim. I was only 12 and I hadn't learned yet. But I always stayed close to the shore and just flipped and flopped around in the edge of the water. Well, my father had bought me, those goggles that covers your nose and it's got a big old piece of glass and then straps around your head and you can stick your head underwater and see everything.
Oh, yeah.
My father had bought me one, and I was so excited and kept bugging him. Well, he put together, his little thing, and we actually went there and, he built a fire or whatever, and we did the weenies on the fire. I mean, it was a nice place to go. It really was.
Yeah.
And it was my aunts and uncles and my father, my sister, a few of my cousins, and we were just all running around, having a good time, cutting up. My father and them, my uncle and my father were drinking their beers. My mother and my aunt was sitting down at the edge of the water to watch all of us flipping and flopping around.
Uh-huh.
Well, what I did, I found an old, plastic bottle and started putting little rocks in it and then filled it up with water so it would have weight so it would sink. Well, I would take that water bottle and I'd throw it out a little bit from me that I knew I'd be safe. And then I would swim down and I could see the bottle and I'd get it and come back up. And I felt so accomplished. I thought, man, I'm doing this. I got this.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, my father, and in his drunken self, decided to take the ice cooler, since it didn't have no more beer or anything in it, and pour it on top of my aunt and my mother.
Oh, no.
So they came all the way in to where I was. I pop up and they're right there. And I'm thinking, well, my goodness, I was confused. So I turned around because I didn't know what had happened. I just knew I had a safe distance away from them. In my mind, I knew I could do this and go down. Well, since they had came out to my edge where I was, I'm thinking, well, I can go on out that way. I guess I just got up too close to them. I threw that bottle and dove down in there, and then I didn't see the bottle, and there was no bottle. At that point, I had fear come over me. I went down and I was fighting. I came up and it was gurgle, help went down again. I did that about 3 times, I guess. And on that last time, I remember thinking, well, this is it. And I kind of accepted it, and everything kind of went just dark. It was just black. There was nothing. And have you ever heard them people talk about, oh, my life flashed before my eyes?
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Yes.
It's a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
I seen myself in the pink Easter dress that my grandmother had bought me to go to church when I was younger. I seen myself in a yellow dress that I went and did a beauty pageant in. I seen several different little pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything kind of went black again. Then all of a sudden, there was the most beautiful, ooh, I got chills, the most beautiful light. And I saw my grandmother.
Oh.
And she reached her hand out, and I grabbed out to her hand, and she said, "You're going to be okay." And then everything went black again. And the next thing I remember, I'm coughing and kind of throwing up and coughing and throwing up. And then finally, I'm on the shore. My father had swam down. He said he had to swim and just keep swimming and swimming. Because when I went down that 3rd time, he seen me and went running and jumped in the water and went swimming down to me and got me and pulled me up on the shore. And they started, I was basically just dead. There was no life in me. And he panicked and started doing CPR. Well, that's what I remember was the, coughing and throwing up water.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when I got that first, breath, I just gasped air into me. I screamed for my grandmother.
Oh.
And then I really don't remember much after that. I came to at Blount Memorial Hospital in Blount County. It was the closest hospital to take me.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, about a week after I came home, I was in my bedroom. My mother was in the kitchen. My sister was in the kitchen. They were doing dishes and cleaning up the kitchen. I was in the bedroom, and I heard someone say, "Alecia." And I thought, that Mama was calling me. So I walked into the kitchen and I said, "Yes, ma'am." And they turned and looked at me, and she said, "What?" I said, "Did you call me?" She said, "No." And I just dismissed it, went back into the bedroom. Well, this happened 3 times. On the 3rd time, when I asked my mother, she got furious and screamed at me.
Oh, wow.
And I went back into my bedroom and sat on my bed. Well, I kept hearing, "Alecia," and I had to sit there on my bed and cry because I knew my mother was serious because of how mad she got, but I kept hearing, "Alecia," but it didn't, connect.
Right.
Well, we all went to church. That was just something that we just grew up doing. And we went to church, and, well, I thought I could trust, the Sunday school teacher, and I told him about what was going on. And bless his heart, he said, "Well, that might be the Lord calling out to you. You need to say, 'I'm here.' When I hear it again, 'I'm here,' and just accept it into your heart." Well, that's not what was going on, but that's what I did.
Right.
Okay.
Finally, when I accepted it the next time, it was my grandmother's voice. She started to talk to me, and I thought it was just the most wonderful, coolest thing ever. And we were sitting there, me and my mother and my father and my sister, and my grandmother said, "Oh, your Aunt Ruthie's fixing to call y'all and invite you for a fish fry." Well, I was excited, and I said, Mama, Aunt Ruthie's fixing to call and invite us to have fish." The phone rang. And it was my Aunt Ruthie calling to invite us to come get fish. well, just different times or whatever, I would be, my grandmother would tell me things, and I would be excited. Well, we were sitting there at the breakfast table, and I said, oh, Uncle Robert's just going to come over for breakfast. About 5 minutes later, he showed up. At this point, they kind of locked in and realized, hey, something weird's going on. It wasn't weird to me, but it was weird to them because they didn't understand. Right. And so my father looked at me and he said, how did you know that? And I said, Mama told me. He said, she's dead. You're just a freak. I don't understand you. Get up and go to your room. I was not even allowed to eat breakfast because my father feared that I might say something and embarrass him. Oh, wow. I wasn't allowed to eat breakfast until after Mother fixed me a little plate, and set it aside. And then after he left, I was allowed to eat breakfast. I was treated differently, but I kind of well, am I? You start questioning that when somebody, you're young and very impressionable, and you start questioning it. And so for a little while, when she would talk to me, I would kind of try to block her. And finally, I started missing that connection. And I remember saying, Mama, if you'll come back, I'll never run you off again. And then she said, hi. I remember she said hi. And for the rest of my life, my grandmother has been there and just tells me things and talks to me. When I was pregnant with my daughter, I couldn't get out of the waterbed. I was like 7.5 months pregnant. Mm-hmm. A 7.5 month woman cannot roll out of a waterbed. Right. So we had a separate bedroom that had, just a regular mattress, and I was asleep. Well, his mother was over, and them two was in there talking, and I don't know. Me and her really didn't get along too well. I don't know. We never did. Anyway, and all of a sudden, I wake up, and my ex-husband had both of his, he got on top of me and had both of his hands on my neck. I could not breathe in or out. Oh my goodness. And I thought, well, you know what? It's okay for me to die, but I don't want my baby to die. And I remember screaming, because I couldn't scream. I remember screaming in my head for my grandmother. I screamed in my head for my grandmother. And then all of a sudden, it was like something hit him so hard that it knocked him clean off of me, and he hit the room, like the wall on the other side of the room.
That is
amazing. The bed was about 6.5, 7 feet away from the bed. 6.5, 7 feet. He hit the wall, went down to the floor, got up very confused. I was confused too. But I was gasping for breath and holding my throat. And he grabbed me by the head. Well, that's another story. Anyways, all through my life, I got engaged after I went through my divorce. I moved on. All women usually do. I moved on and got a fiance. We were arguing real bad one night. And he started packing up some of his stuff to leave. We lived together. And my grandmother said, Alecia, tell him that if he leaves, he's going to get shot. Wow. And I told him, I said, hey, my grandmother said, tell you if you leave, you're going to get shot. He said, you are so crazy. And I said, no, please, you don't understand. Please do not leave. Well, he did. And when he went to this little corner store, gas station here in Mobile, he saw somebody that didn't like him, They started arguing, and the guy pulled out a gun and shot him. And it went through, like, the shoulder, like right under that shoulder blade.
Wow.
The bullet went in and then out. It did exit, but it went all the way through. And he called me, hey, I need help. I got shot. I said, why are you calling me? Call an ambulance. I said, I tried to tell you, and you wouldn't listen.
Right.
And I hung up. I hung up because I was mad.
Right. Wow. So your grandmother has just always been here since your NDE and,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
has helped
Yes, ma'am.
you through so much. Did you ever have any kind of hearing her voice or feeling her around you before your accident?
Oh, yes. No. She passed when I was like 9 or 10, and I had my near-death experience when I was 12. She had been passed away nearly 3 years.
Right.
And I had never, everything was just happy-go-lucky country girl. Nothing.
Wow,
I
okay.
missed her and thought about her all the time.
Wow.
And the crazy part is, we were taught to pray before we went to sleep. Even though she was passed away every night, I would still pray for her. And, I knew she was gone, but I would still pray for her.
Yeah. Oh. So you guys are
So-
just bonded. Yeah, you guys had a connection.
And it wasn't until after that happened that she started talking to me. And at first, like I said, it was just Alecia, and I thought it was my mother calling me. And I went in there, and it wasn't her. It wasn't her that called me. And I didn't understand at first. It wasn't until that Sunday school teacher told me to say I'm here and kind of accept it, that it hit. And she said, hi. And it was just crystal clear, her voice. I knew for a matter of a fact, I just got chills. It was her. I knew it was her.
Yeah.
Right. It finally dawned on you who it
And
was.
I don't care. I don't care what nobody says. I know what I know.
Right.
And I still hear her to this day.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
I was going to go to Mississippi to the casinos one night. And my grandmother said, no, don't go. Stay home. I didn't understand why. But my friend Pat ended up having an accident on the interstate going to the boat, what they call the boat, the casinos.
Wow.
She told me stay home. I wasn't in that accident. So even to this day, she still is there for me.
That is wow. That is wonderful. A quick question, Alecia.
Yes.
When back to your when you had drowned, and your some of your final thoughts were, this is it. We hear this so many times from so many of our guests.
It is the most peaceful acceptance. That's all I know how to describe it.
Wow. Now, did you happen to have an out of body experience as far as once you went to that void, the darkness?
No, no, sir. I just, maybe, because I did see, like, when I grabbed her, I seen, like, the front of my body, but I didn't see my actual body.
Gotcha.
But I was up, like standing straight up and grabbed her hand.
Wow. That's amazing.
So maybe that qualifies, but I didn't look back to see my body. I just seen that beautiful light in her, and she grabbed my hand.
Yeah.
And I've been connected with her ever since. She said, you're going to be fine.
Wow.
And then blackness.
So when you were in that blackness, did you feel like the oneness that so many people feel, that connected to everything?
Oh, yes. It's the most amazing feeling you will ever have in your life. It is, it's one, you feel a type of happy and peace You finally feel like you belong. So I don't know how. I'm so
That's
sorry,
okay. You're
y'all.
doing perfect. You are doing perfect. Yeah, absolutely. Because we hear this so often that it is so amazing and so awesome and so even different from this world that it's hard to even put into words.
And I feel bad because I can't describe it.
That's okay.
I'm using words that I know, but you won't know until you get there.
Yeah.
Right. My words mean nothing compared to what that is.
Right.
Nothing compared to what that is. It's the best feeling you will ever have. That's the only words I know to use.
Yeah.
So and we hear from so many other experiencers, and tell me if it's true for you. Was it like the thought that feeling that you are home?
Yes. That's what I was talking about when I said you feel like you're finally accepted. You feel like you're just home. That's where you belong.
Okay.
Wow.
All right. So you were saying that, you were raised in church and everything.
Yes.
When you had your NDE, did you experience any kind of like spiritual figure like Jesus or anything like that?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
So no kind of judgment or anything like the churches teach?
Oh, no. Yeah, no. No. I experienced, it didn't feel like something religious. It felt like something else. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Spiritual, yeah. Something more spiritual.
Yes, there you go. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't religious. It was something, a higher spiritual, I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah.
It wasn't religious. No.
We hear that so much. The people, when they go through these experiences, it's just such a...
That's not what it was.
Yeah. Wow.
Right. So, all right. So coming back from your experience and it's starting to have your communications with your grandmother and everything,
Yes.
and your family starting to kind of notice things and just kind of not accepting your gifts, did you start going to church or anything?
Freak. I was called a freak, and I was like an outcast. Does that make sense?
It does.
Oh, yeah.
You were misunderstood. That's all. It's simple misunderstood. You were coming from a different vibration, a different place. Yeah.
So I grew up my sister was accepted, but I wasn't. And my mother, she would kind of try to make up for it because it was bad, but it wasn't enough good to make up for the bad. Does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, understood.
So did you start going to church to try to find your way after this? I mean, how did you get to where you are now on your spiritual walk? With what you know from your experience.
Or did it keep you out of church? I mean, did it affect you in any kind of spiritual way or any kind of search for, something higher after that?
Yeah, well,
Well, I know you were a youngster, but maybe like later in life.
I have honestly tried to, get that same feeling of that spirituality that I felt through religion, and I could not find it in religion, that feeling that I had spiritually.
Understood.
So I turned to like nature stuff. I would go to, I'm drawn to water, and I don't understand that either because I nearly drowned. I'm drawn to water. I'm not scared of water because, I'm just not. I know that, well, basically I died in water, but thank God I was brought back, but I was put back in the body, but, I'm drawn to water. And so I would go to creeks and just get in there and flip rocks to see what was under it. There would be snakes. Everybody was terrified of snakes, but I don't know. I never was. I was not scared the thing that other people were scared of. I turned to nature. Mm-hmm. And the religious part of me didn't bring me the happiness that the spiritual part did. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. 1,000%. Yeah. Oh, yes, ma'am. We totally understand. Yeah.
So from what I'm picking up, you connected with nature. Did you experience the oneness of everything?
Yeah. It's the most beautiful thing you will ever experience when you realize that everything is connected from the dirt all the way up. We are all one. We are all one. That's why we go back to the dirt. That's why we bury in the dirt. From the dirt, everything is connected. We're all one. Yeah, I experienced that. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so you had just said that, you were put back in your body. We have so many of our guests say that when they were in their spiritual form, that they were light, they were free, there was no heaviness associated.
Oh, yeah. That's what I was talking about. I was like floating, like I was standing straight up, but it was floating.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's probably out of body experience. It sounds like. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
So when you were put back in your body, in your physical form, did it feel heavy? Did you have to?
Yeah. That's why, you know what? When I realized that I was back in my body, that's why I screamed for her, because I wanted to be right there with her. I wanted to go back there with her.
Right.
That makes sense. Wow. Yes.
You are.
When it went black, do you know, I think that's when I went back into my body.
It could be. Yes, ma'am. And the black could be the exit and the entrance, because you said you experienced the black at first and then you.
Yes, sir. It was black, solid black. Uh-huh. That's the darkest black. Think of the darkest black ink that you can. That's what everything was. There was no light, nothing. It was black, just black. That's all I know to say. That's the blackest black there was.
Let me ask you this. You,
yes.
However, were aware of the blackness, right?
Yes, sir.
You see, so that lets you know that you are more than just this body. You are more. You are part of that one. You are what we call God. You are the source. We are all part of the all, part of the one, and you had a firsthand experience on that. And that in itself, girl, that is a blessing. Not everybody gets to experience that, but just to be able to experience that and you to be able to, to have that experience. And then, I think I'm just throwing it out there, like when you had reached and screamed out for your grandmother, I know she heard you, and I think that has a lot to do with her hanging out with you from there on out, So I don't know. I'm not saying that's what happened, but, you guys had a connection, obviously. So I think she's been there with you since day one. And she's probably put something together about us getting this podcast together for you to come out on as well.
Everything happens for a reason.
Uh-huh.
Everything. This was my time to finally release that. You do not know how much I thank y'all. I'm 52. Mm-hmm. I have held on to my story since I was 12 for fear of judgment. Nobody wants to be called a freak. You're just crazy. Validation is something that is rare. I just thank y'all for letting me share my story with y'all.
Oh, that's no worries. That's what it's all about. And one thing you need to know, and I know you already know this, it's not a matter of you needing to know, but I think all of us need to know or remember that, baby, you are beautiful. You are the most awesome, beautiful thing that God ever created, that God can even experience itself through. You were here for a reason, just like every other soul on this earth. You are very special.
Sir.
And never, ever let anybody tell you you're something different that you're not, and never give somebody power over you.
Yes.
Always
that does
remember.
give them power.
That's right.
I believe that. Yes.
So you take that power back and know that you're a beautiful soul, and that life goes on, and we're just here to learn and experience things, and we'll just keep on going on,
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes. Oh, I feel so much lighter. I know that sounds weird.
No, it does not at
No.
all. We experience this. This is regular.
I feel so much lighter.
Yes.
This is a great feeling. Oh,
We have actually had a couple of first-time sharers on the podcast, and we like getting with the first-timers because it does lighten your load. It does help you in your walk, in your spiritual journey, as well as raising the consciousness of the masses out here and letting people know that they don't have to be afraid to share their story, to be who they are.
That's right.
That is so right. That's what I'm talking about. Everybody wants to be validated. Everybody wants to be heard. And, show people respect and believe them. When they tell you that happened, believe them because it happened.
Right. And I have one more question at the
yes,
moment.
Yes, ma'am. You can ask me anything.
Sure.
Anything. You know me. We were in school together.
Yes.
I feel safe talking to you.
Oh, yeah.
Anything you want to ask, go ahead.
Me too. So, all right. So when you were in that moment, when you were having your NDE, and you said in that darkness, okay, in that darkness, did you feel anything? Did you feel any kind of energy, any other souls? What was around you in that darkness, or were you aware of anything?
Believe it or not, the darkness was terrifying. When, when there's no light, that's the most terrifying thing you will ever experience.
Mm-hmm.
I was terrified, but then all of a sudden, it was that burst. It was just, boom, it was just that beautiful light. I don't know how to describe it because I just don't know how to describe it. But there was my grandmother, and I could still even see that bonnet. Gosh, it had little pink roses, and it was a white bonnet, like with little pink rose flowers on it. She used to wear it outside to block the sun.
Okay.
I seen her dress. I seen her. I know it was her. She was smiling and just reached out, and I reached, and we were holding hands. And I looked at her. She was smiling. I felt this happiness. It was wonderful. And she said, "You're going to be fine." And then, boom, it was back to the dark.
Yeah. So you just answered one of the questions that I had. I was going to ask, in seeing your grandmother, was she in like a physical form that you could see colors or everything, or was it just her presence and you knew that it was her? So you just answered that, so thank you.
It was the most vivid.
Yeah.
It was, okay, imagine just standing in front of anybody. You're seeing their clothes and everything, head to toe. They're right there.
Uh-huh.
That's how vivid it is.
Right.
You see every little detail.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I'm going to say, just from some of our other guests, and I think that's maybe why a lot of our guests can't always describe and put into words the things that they see and their feelings. But one of our people that we've talked to about the NDEs, she described the colors in spirit form that we do not have in the material form, with our physical.
It's not here. It's not here.
Right.
That's why I said it was the most beautiful thing you will ever see.
Mm-hmm.
There's that you can't describe that. And I'm so sorry that I can't.
No,
it's the most beautiful thing you will ever see. The colors, everything is so vivid, but there's colors there that there's not here.
Yeah.
There's the other side, and it's the most beautiful thing that we are all ever going to see.
That's right.
Right.
You know what? I'm actually happy that everybody's going to get to see that. I want everybody to see that because it's the most beautiful thing you'll ever see.
That's right.
Right.
People may not understand that because they haven't experienced, they haven't seen it yet. Oh,
Right.
just wait till you see it.
Some things you can't describe in human terms,
No.
you know. Now, I've got a
No.
quick question for you, love.
Yes.
Now,
Go ahead,
I like
ask
the
me
way.
anything.
Okay, no worries. I like how you had mentioned earlier that everything, and I'm gonna phrase it because I wrote it down. I like how you quoted it. That everything is connected from the dirt up. Okay, I like how you said that. Now, what does that mean to you, Alecia, as an individual, and how has this, affected your life? Even though you've had a lot of resistance growing up and things like that. How has this really affected you overall?
I came to realize that, okay, the dirt grows the corn. The corn feeds the cow. The cow feeds us. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
When you
yes, ma'am.
realize that it is from the dirt up, I don't know how to describe it. I'm so sorry, y'all.
But that's okay.
Everything is connected. Everything has a purpose. Everything, there's a reason that everything is here.
Yeah.
That's the best way I can describe it. There is a reason that everything is here. You may look at something and think, oh, that's just a weed. No, that could be food for a caterpillar that turns into a beautiful butterfly. You got to there's so much to it. I can't describe what I mean. It's
okay.
all one.
Absolutely. And you nailed it. That's all there is to say. Yeah. It's all one, and it's awesome that you were able to experience that. So that's beautiful.
Right. And
Thank you.
I like the way you're saying that everything is one. And in that everything that you're describing, that would you say that includes what we call God?
Oh, definitely. We didn't just pop here. There's the spirit. Okay, the spirit comes from somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
It didn't just come out of the air. Our spirits came from a higher power, and it had to have been God.
Mm-hmm.
I can't give you a soul, right?
Right.
You can't give me one, right? It comes from somewhere, correct? It comes from God. I do know that.
That is wonderful to hear, because we hear that in so many from our guests and all. And when we can truly accept that we are divine as well, it's life-changing.
Yes. I do, believe in God and everything like that. And it is all one. It is. But I don't know how to describe it. I still lean more towards the spiritual, because we are spiritual. We do have a spirit. We have a soul. That's a spirit.
Right.
And when you realize that, and you realize there's another side, and you've seen, when you get a glimpse into that, when you, come back to this side after you've been over there for a little while, you realize there's another side to this, y'all. It don't end in death. It does not.
So, yes, with you saying that, you are bringing the words of one of our previous guests when he said, I never felt more alive than the day I died.
Yeah.
There you go. That is the best way I've ever heard it described.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like a switch. You know how you turn on a light? A switch went off in my head. Something, yes. Yeah. His words,
Awesome.
yes.
That is awesome. That is awesome. For many of our first-time guests, they haven't shared or done much research on it because it was such a traumatic event in their life.
Yes, ma'am.
And like with you, most of the people who have had these experiences haven't had people to talk to, didn't accept them. So most of the people that have had, I'll say our age and older, didn't have anyone to share with, and it was frowned upon. Nowadays, the consciousness of everything is being raised, and it's more in the media to let people know that, hey, we are one. We are, connected on every level that we can be. We all are energy.
Yes. Oh my God, yes. But yeah, I'm so happy that you gave me a way to release that, because you phrased it beautifully. We were frowned upon. So therefore, we had shame. And when you were frowned upon, you feel shame, like like you're dirty, or you've done something wrong, or there's something wrong with you. And you lock that down inside of you because of fear of persecution and judgment. And nobody likes to feel that way. So you lock it in and you say nothing about it because of the experience that you got when it happened.
Wow. I really got a feeling myself that with you being able to open up and share your experience without fear of judgment, I really feel like you said you were still having dreams about the experience. I could really have a feeling that those dreams will stop. And
I was going to say the same thing. Yeah. Because you're getting it out of your spirit, out of the psyche, getting it out. Chances are you're going to be able to grow.
I'm releasing it. I'm letting it go.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not holding it in.
Absolutely.
I have released it out into the oneness. It's gone.
Right.
I've released it.
Yeah.
And Daphne, I cannot thank you enough.
Oh, there's no need for thanks. That's what we're here for, baby. We are here to help others who have had these experiences, because we've done so much research on this, and it was such a powerful message that you can share with us to help raise our consciousness. And that releases those, I'm getting emotional myself. It releases those fears that we have.
Yes. Oh.
Yeah, and guys, really all credit goes to the Great Spirit, really.
Exactly, yeah.
This is bigger than us, really, so.
It really is, yeah.
It don't just lights out nothing. For the people, I want to say to you, the people that's listening to this, please hear me. It's not just lights out when you die. It's not. There's the other side. And it's so beautiful.
Yes.
It's so amazing. Don't be scared.
Right.
There's another side. It's not just lights out. And I thank y'all so much.
Oh, no worries.
I'm getting emotional too, Daphne. I'm getting emotional too. I'm so
yes, no, don't be. I mean, that's just the spirit at work moving, letting you know that this is real.
Yeah.
And
you're in the
your
right
vibration.
direction.
Yeah.
You're in the right direction where you need to be right now, and your spirit will let you know. And I've got everything in me feels that even after this conversation, you're going to feel like a whole new person, Alecia. You will. I promise.
I already do.
Yeah, you will.
I have let it go. I feel so much better.
Uh-huh.
That's awesome.
I have held that in since I was a child. Now, I ain't letting go of my grandmother. I'm not doing that.
No,
I need her.
Yeah,
I need her. I need
still
her.
there with you.
But I've released my story that I was afraid to tell.
Yeah.
And that means so much to me.
Yes.
I cannot thank the two of you enough.
No worries. That's why.
It's a great feeling. It's a great feeling.
That's awesome.
Oh, gosh.
That's awesome.
And that's, like Daphne said, that's why we actually started this podcast, is really just to help people and to be a platform, really for a lot of first timers, like she had mentioned earlier.
It's a safe place.
Yes,
It's
ma'am.
a safe place, and I hope your podcast blows up and people can let it go and release their stories, because this is a safe place.
Yes.
I feel safe. I had no fear in me of letting that story go, and nobody should be afraid. Just tell your story. Everybody has a story.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah.
And just think of all the lives, as you know, we always say, just lead us to the ears that need to hear. So this story is going to be touching a lot of people's lives. So just keep that in mind, that alone, just that thought alone should even take you to a different, higher vibration, just knowing that all the other people that you're going to touch.
I've got chills all over me. I've been, like, the little hairs on my arms are raising up. I've had chills all through this podcast. It's real.
It is.
Yes.
It's spiritual.
It is real.
Yeah.
There's the other side, y'all. And yes, I got chills again. There's another side. It's not just lights out and it's over. No, it's not.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, we are right about our hour mark, Miss Alecia. Let me ask you something.
Yes.
What have you learned from all of this, baby? What have you learned? And what could you share, like one maybe final word for our listeners that's, you know, when it comes to life and death and the big picture, maybe that people who have a fear of death or anything, is there anything you'd like to maybe, any kind of, you know, closing thoughts you'd like to share?
Yes. Don't be afraid. Yes, I mean, I was terrified at first when I saw the blackness, and I'm pretty sure everyone is going to experience that blackness at first, but then when that boom of light hits you, it's going to be the most beautiful, amazing thing that you're ever going to see. And there's nothing on this earth that would ever compare to that feeling.
Wow.
Don't be scared. I was terrified, but after I seen the light and I seen my grandmother, which everybody, I'm pretty sure, you know, we'll have a different, everybody's different. We are all one, but we're all one. But we'll all have our each experience, but don't be afraid. It's a beautiful thing.
Right. You know, I like the way you said that we're all one, but we all have different experiences. And with these different experiences come lessons for us in some manner. So whatever your experience was something to help you in your life, even though it was very traumatic.
In my walk, in my journey. Yes, you're right.
Yes.
And I thank you guys so much. I know you said you're running on your 1 hour mark.
Oh, we're good.
That's no worries. That's no worries, love. We're here for you. So
yes.
We just, let me just thank you again for such a beautiful story and for really just opening up to us and sharing your story with, I'm telling you right now, there's going to be so many people that's going to be able to connect with this because there's so many people, you know, that have these kind of experiences, and then when they try to explain it or share it with others, they feel, you know, like they can't really get it out because people wants to start, you know, throwing accusations, calling them names, saying they're weird, saying they're a freak, saying they're a witch or the devil.
You're just
you know,
crazy.
Yeah,
exactly.
All of
that,
and so that's, a person has to deal with all that, and then that's just not normal human behavior, and especially if it's coming from a loving source or a parental source that's supposed to be love. You know, we think our parents would understand or whatever, but you know, if it comes from something like that. You're supposed to accept
your children no matter what.
Absolutely.
And do you know what? I did mine.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would never want my children to feel what I did. That's all I'm going to say. So, you know, if anything, it taught me that not to treat my children like that, not to judge people. Try to love everyone. Show kindness. You know what? You can just say a kind word to somebody, and it might keep them from going and doing something to hurt themselves. It might, you never know what somebody's going through right then in their life. That small little piece of kindness that you do to somebody might change their life. That's what the lesson taught me. It's a
Well
lot,
said.
I know.
No. Well
Yeah.
said.
Very
Beautifully
well said. Actually, Alecia, that is one of the things that we say on multiple episodes of ours. Be kind, because you never know what somebody's going through. Because
That's
like
right.
you just said, you may save somebody's life by being
That's
kind
right.
to
That's
them.
right. Yes, Miss Daphne. And like I said again, Daphne, I knew that this would be a safe place because I grew up knowing you. So again, thank y'all. And if there's
Yes.
any other questions you have, feel free to ask. If not, then I guess we could, end our little podcast. I thank y'all so much.
Yes.
No worries.
We thank
Daphne, do you have any final comments you'd like to maybe comment on before we wrap up? Or
I would just really like to say thank you for sharing your story and opening up, because so many people do have that feeling of shame and guilt for the things that they've experienced in the spiritual realm from the other side, and gotten remorse and ridiculed from others that are close family and friends. So thank you for sharing and opening up that way.
Yes, ma'am. I would like to make one little last comment.
Sure.
He was saying that, a lot of these stories are the same. That's not by mistake. It's because it's real. We're all experiencing the same thing because it's real.
right.
And that's my last words.
Yes.
Thank y'all so much.
I absolutely love that. And you are so right. I'm so glad you made that point, because the harmony.
That's not by mistake. We're all, these people that have went through different near-death experiences, whatever happened, and we're all experiencing the same thing. That's not by mistake. Or, you see what I'm saying? I didn't know his story or her story, but they're kind of the same as mine, because we experienced, the same things.
It's not coincidence.
That's not by mistake.
That's what I love about learning about these near-death experiences and the spiritual transformative experiences, because there's so much harmony in these. The thread that runs through this ties it together beautifully, that this is the truth about what comes next. In religions, in all religions, it teaches division, and you're going to be judged. There's so much condemnation in religion, and that just is not part of the near-death experience.
No, I didn't experience anything religious. It was all spiritual.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, speaking of, Alecia, on behalf of the podcast, thank you so much, love. We love you so much. And always remember that you are a beautiful soul. You are the divine, experiencing life here on earth. You're a spiritual being, having a physical experience. And, people may say things and say words and things like that. Just don't worry about that. And I'll leave you with this little thing, and things really do hurt. They really do. So always remember this. Instead of focusing on that negative and giving them the power over you, always remember this. This is what we call the divine dichotomy. Okay. And I'll share this with you, and we'll go ahead and wrap things up, baby. But always remember this. Okay. Cause you're not weird. You're not a freak, but here's what you are. Okay. You are God. Okay. You always have been. You always will be.
Yes, will be.
But at the same time, you never will be. Okay. That's what
No.
that's what we call the divine dichotomy. So always remember that you are an individual, but you are God.
That makes us divine.
You're so right. Yes. Mm-hmm. So if you are divine and you are God, there's no way you can be weird or a freak.
Oh, God don't make no mistakes.
That's right.
You got it, girl. We love you so much, Alecia. Thank you so much for your story.
I hope y'all have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Thank you, guys.
We love you, girl. Stay sharp.
Love you.
Take care, love. And there you have it, Miss Alecia. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for such a wonderful
Yes.
story.
Oh
Miss
my
Daphne, what
gosh.
do you think?
Oh my gosh. She's got such a beautiful message as well for people. Don't be afraid of the afterlife. What we perceive is the afterlife. Life continues on.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid of that there is something past what we experience on this plane.
Yeah. And think about like she had mentioned, and we hear, from so many different guests and stories and things like that, what they're teaching in church or in a lot of religions, it's not really quite what they're really coming to experience on the other side,
Exactly, like she
And,
said that.
yeah.
That's why their stories are so close to each other, because there's truth in it.
The
That's
NDEs,
what is
yeah.
happening on the other side. It's not like the different religions teaching, well, it's this way or it's that way. There's only one way, because there's no harmony in that. The different sects of religious
Schools of religion. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, there's no harmony in any of the religions. All of them believe something different. And with our NDEers, with everybody that's had these transformative experiences in their life, there's harmony. There's that common thread. There's so many elements that are the same.
Yep.
That is truth that resonates.
Yep. And it's even though they're all the same elements, people have their own individual experience,
Exactly,
but they're made
yeah.
up of the same elements. Yeah. I'm glad you brought that out, because research shows, I don't know, the last I've heard, over like 60 something thousand, I think, but we have, I'm sure the numbers are way more than that. That's just one source I heard it from, but this is actual written, documented, medically examined reports of, these experiences. So this is not something we're just making up, guys. These
Right.
things really do happen, and these people really do experience this. So keep that in
Right.
mind. Yeah.
Exactly. And there's beauty in these experiences, and as horrifying and scary as they may be, like she said, she started connecting with nature and everything, and she felt that oneness,
That's right.
that love, that beauty that is on the other side, that she found connecting in nature. And that's why so many times throughout these episodes, and why we're doing the Udo series, is to help raise the people's consciousness about getting outside, being one with nature, and connecting on a spiritual level with everything that is around us.
Yeah, absolutely. I like how you said that. And the UDO that she's talking about is the acronym UDO for Universal Divine Oneness. And we have a whole series that we've actually started on that. So you can get that information from the website as well. We'll do a plug for that here in a moment. So,
and I love the beautiful light that she could not explain, like so many of our NDEers can't explain. It is just ultimate love.
Pure light, pure
love,
yeah,
pure light, bliss. Yeah. And that can release a lot of fear for a lot of people, because I personally know so many in doing the podcast. I talk to a lot of my friends that I grew up with from school, and there's so many of them that have fears. Deep rooted fears about death and what's going to happen after the transition.
A lot of people do. It's pretty common. Yeah.
And when we live in those fears, it lowers our vibration, our frequency. And that's why we say so much to keep your energy pure and up and keep it on a higher level, because it helps to get you to that spiritual awareness of what's going on in the real world, not the false material world that we live in.
Yeah. The higher the vibration, the higher the awareness.
Yes, most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
It's all connected.
I love another thing she said, just that beautiful, peaceful acceptance. That's one
being
thing.
home too. I like that
That
part.
being home,
We hear that a lot.
yes, we do. We hear that so much. And that's, no matter what we've done, most of our NDEers, as well as Alecia coming back and saying that acceptance of who and what you are.
Yeah.
That's on the other side. You're accepted as you are.
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. And just the fact that she gets to experience that oneness is a gem in itself. That's a beautiful thing and a beautiful gift to be able to have, to be able to have that connection with nature, because so many people abuse nature. They don't have that love and that connection even with nature anymore. I mean,
I know.
we've gotten so far from that. I mean, we are nature. We're part of it. We are all one with nature.
Yeah,
you know?
and she brought that out beautifully, our oneness with everything.
Absolutely, yeah. So she gets it. She gets it.
She
Yeah.
really, really does. And you know, I've got this to say about her gifts. You know, her grandmother literally may have saved her life by knocking her ex-husband off of her.
In more ways than one, Daphne. Think about that.
Yes, exactly. Her grandmother has always been there for her. Yeah. She was always really close to her while she was in the material, the physical world as well. So that's probably why she's her guardian angel, her guide now.
Yes.
It's just to help her to deal with everything that she's been through.
Yes, yes. And everything in me tells me that, you know, now that she's able to share this, you know, she can move on. Yes, Alecia, you can just move on, baby. That's all good. And,
yeah, that burden of carrying it forever is let loose now.
It's a long time to carry something, so it's where it needs to be, and you got it out. Now you can be able to grow and move on. You're going to feel like a new person, and just know that we love you so much. You are divine. You're a beautiful soul, and never think anything different, regardless of who says it. You know,
right.
Never, ever let anybody say anything different like that towards you or anybody.
We've got to get to a point in our lives where we don't have to worry about what someone else thinks about what we believe or what we think, what we do. It is our lives to live. So we want to sincerely thank you for sharing your story with us.
Yep.
It was amazing, and I look forward to our continued conversations and building our friendship back.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we so enjoyed it, Alecia, so much. Thank you so much, baby, and take care of yourself. Before we let everybody go, don't forget to go to the website. It's NDE.world for more information on who we are and what we do and all kind of cool, super duper stuff
book links
pertaining to life, death, and beyond. And we've got bookstores and our Facebook group links on there. We've got over 100 plus podcasts on all kind of different subjects. We've got everything that a person could use to really be able to find all kind of information on these mysteries in life, so don't forget to go again.
To help you grow as a soul.
Absolutely. That website is NDE.world. Again,
NDE.world.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We love you all so much. We love you, Alecia. Thank you so much, baby, for taking the time to share your story with us and our listeners. And you take care of yourself as well. And may peace be with you all. Until next time.
Y'all let your light shine.
Hello, you beautiful souls. Don't forget to visit the website, NDE.world. That is
NDE.world.